Hi there, welcome to Learn, Live, and Prepare. In this video I'm going to be sharing some examples of different knife grinds and how they might be used, their strengths, their weaknesses. I know in the past I've been looking for that knife that can do everything, and that's not so easy. Each knife has its pros and cons, and it's much better to just have one for different tasks. So I'm going to do this as briefly as possible, not to take up too much of your time. So let's start with the hollow grind. The hollow grind has a concave grind, which means that the knife grind curves inward. A full hollow grind starts from the spine to the edge of the blade. This here is almost a full grind, almost a full hollow grind, but not quite. It starts about right there. And if I can show you, there is a gap in between the grind and that pencil. That's because it's concave. So this is a hollow grind. These grinds are better for slicing, and they are easier to sharpen because you do not have to take off as much material from the edge. The downside to this is, since it is so thin, they can chip very easily if you're using it for chopping or batoning. These are better used for skinning, hunting, and food processing tasks. Next is the full flat grind. This is ground from the spine to the edge. As you can see, flat grind, pretty basic explanation. These are good at cutting and some chopping. Disadvantages to this is it's not as good as a hollow grind, but it's not as robust as a saber grind. So those are the disadvantages. Not as good as cutting as a hollow, and not as robust as a saber grind. These are better for everyday carry or kitchen tasks or even hunting. This is kind of a combination of the hollow and the saber. The saber grind knife does not cover the entire blade. So the grind starts partially through the blade and is ground down on either a hollow grind or a flat grind. This is a hollow saber grind. It is concave. So this knife has excellent durability, and it's great for chopping and penetration. It's going to have more strength than the flat grind and the hollow grind. But the downside is it's not as good as cutting. These two are going to do better at cutting than the saber grind. These are best used for tactical or self-defense or survival and camping knives. Next we have the Scandi grind. The Scandi grind is a short grind closer to the edge, and it can either have a flat grind or a convex grind. I've more commonly seen the flat grind. Convex is the opposite of concave, so it actually curves outward instead of inward like the hollow grind. So this Scandi grind here, these have strong edges, they don't chip easily, and they're fairly easy to understand when it comes to sharpening. The downside to this is it does take longer to sharpen this because there's more material that you have to remove. And these aren't very good at slicing tasks. So it's not a kitchen knife. These are best used for carving, some chopping, and other camp tasks. Another common grind, but is not often found in knives, is the convex grind. This grind is curved outward. The advantage to this is it's excellent for choppers, axes, for examples. It has a very strong edge. If you can see, let me see if I can get this to focus. There you go. So you can kind of see how it curves outward. Okay. So the disadvantage of this is it's very difficult to sharpen, and it's not a very good slicer or carver. These are better for chopping, and you'll often see, again, axes and machetes and other large knives possibly with this grind on it. All right, friends, that covers the most common blade grinds that you'll find in knives and, again, axes. I hope you found this video useful, informative. Possibly this might make your searches a little bit easier. I know, again, in the past I've bought knives and I was a little disappointed that they didn't fulfill my expectations. If I would have known better about the knife grinds, that would have helped me make a more informed decision. So until next time, take care.